Secretary Mayorkas has refused to address this crisis, but we won't. He regularly lies to the American people, claiming that the southern border is closed. I've been there, it's wide open.
Alejandro Mayorkas has forsaken his sworn oath to protect the homeland.
I can promise you Texans aren't going to put up with this anymore. And this body, this Congress, this Republican-led Congress needs to hold Alejandro Mayorkas accountable. He needs to be fired. He needs to be removed from office under the tools under the Constitution.
20 House Republicans and a number of border officials are pushing to impeach DHS Secretary Mayorkas. As we learn, there have already been more than 500,000 migrant encounters at the southwest border since October.
Congressman Andy Biggs sits on the House Oversight Committee and is leading the push to impeach Mayorkas and joins us now. Congressman, good morning to you. Let's get into specifics here. On what grounds are you calling to impeach Mayorkas? How would you go about doing this?
Well, first of all, we'll have an investigation to go through and make sure that we're not rushing on anything. But here's the deal. He is violating Title VIII. So Title VIII requires him to have maintained detention over these individuals until they've had their immigration status determined. He has said we're going to release them. In fact, they've released over 1 million people into the country who are not here legally. He is also committed, we think he's committed perjury. It looks like that. I mean, he's told us that the border is operationally secure. It is not. So that you've got two crimes right there. Then you have additional facts that he has told ICE that we're not going to remove people who already have been through court, had due process. There's 1.2 million of them that have been ordered to be removed. He said we're not going to look for them. We're not going to remove them. Fourth thing is he's provided incentives for people to come into this country illegally. The fifth thing is he's provided specific breaks for certain countries who've sent masses of people here where he's gone after other people. All of those things indicate that he has committed high crimes and misdemeanors, and that's the standard for impeachment.
Congressman, beyond impeaching Mayorkas, what are Republicans going to do when they take over the House next month in order to stem this crisis? Does that include withholding funding? Does that include investigations that lead to significant, tangible changes? What?
Yeah, so the way it would work is if this omnibus doesn't get through and we still have a chance to use the budget as leverage, we will leverage the budget to make sure that you finish the wall and you provide the resources necessary to the Border Patrol to enforce Title VIII, and you don't do away with Title 42. Those are all tools to stop what's going on at the border. The second thing is exactly what you say. You have to bring people in and hold them accountable to the public and to Congress for the policies that they've deliberately, intentionally, willfully put into place that are drawing people to this country at the rate of last weekend over 16,000 encounters, and that doesn't include the gotaways, which in the Tucson sector is some days is over 1,000 people known to be getting away.
Yeah, and Congressman, in both El Paso and Brownsville, two cities that are nowhere close to each other, those areas are so overwhelmed right now that Border Patrol is just mass releasing migrants onto the streets. And these people have nowhere to go, so they are essentially homeless. And I remember under the Trump administration, Democrats were incensed over the lack of beds that migrants had at Border Patrol facilities. So where is that outrage now?
Well, they're mute on the subject because they say we can't even get them to admit there is a problem on the border. Some of them say that it's absolutely okay. There's only one Democrat that I know of that's talking about that. But I mean, just to your point, they're going to start releasing into the community in Yuma as well. They have a facility that they put up holds 1,200 people, but most days has over 3,000 people. And there's only one NGO, small facilities. The hospital there is being overrun by people being released into the community who just pop up into their ER, into their maternity room. So this is going on all along the border, and it's going to be spreading throughout the entire country. It has to, because there's just millions of people that are flooding the border.
And when you look at these numbers, the images we're seeing currently on our screen, these are bad, but this is before Title 42 goes away. Imagine how much worse this is going to look when 3 times more people are coming every day. It is a frightening thought. Best of luck trying to solve this crisis, Congressman Andy Biggs, and we thank you for joining us this morning. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congressman. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.